We are back on the record, such as it is. Acting Chief, you are still under oath. And Counsel, you may proceed.
Thank you. Sergeant O'Keefe, I just wanted to try to clarify one thing we talked about in the previous segment. The day you described a conversation where you brought to Chief Swanson the point about people were upset about him not being present in the department. We talked about that.
Right.
It happened to be the same day as the day Chief left on personal business instead of attending that visit from Homeland.
Correct.
Was it your sense people were complaining about him that one time, him not being present, or was it something more like pervasive and prior to that one day?
It's sort of, people were complaining all along, and then it culminated into that one day where people became more upset than usual and came to me to complain.
All right. So not just that one day was not
No.
the issue. Thank you. Okay. Now, do you have any concern about the extent to which Chief Swanson follows through on discipline of junior officers?
Yes.
And what can you tell us about that subject?
It just didn't seem, it comes back to the whole frat house mentality there. It was just there didn't seem like there was any discipline at all. There was a few instances where, plus some of this was prior to my arrival, that people had told me that some things had occurred that there was no discipline issued.
Okay. Were you personally involved in any examples you can give where, you either took disciplinary action and what became of it, or where you recommended disciplinary action?
Yes. It was the day of the Pride event where we had two officers that were on duty other than myself, for a total of three of us. I gave them orders of the day to just be visible because it was a high-profile event. Safety was paramount. So I instructed both officers to be visible downtown, whether they were on foot or in the car with the blue lights on. Pretty much my only instruction was to make sure you're not in the office and be downtown for that event. Concurrent to that, also, our parking attendant, Terry Poljasic, had asked for a ride back to the station. So I instructed the officers to make sure that they didn't forget about Ms. Poljasic, to bring her back and give her a ride, and also to make sure that the event was covered. And neither one of those things happened. I came back on duty that following Monday, and I found that both officers sat in the station for, I think it was up to 8 hours. And there was no one downtown during the Pride event. So I wrote them up for not following orders. I did discuss it with Chief Swanson. I issued them, both officers, letters for discipline. They complained to Chief Swanson about it, and that's basically where we're left.
Okay. Could you take a look at Exhibit 5 in the book on the table, please? 5 and 6, pardon me.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Just 5. It's a 2-page exhibit.
Okay.
And just for the record, see if you agree that what we're looking at is a June 6th letter to an officer from you, and then the following page is a identical letter. Not identical. Sorry, it's a slightly different letter to another officer about regarding the same events. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And do these two letters encompass the matters you just described?
They do.
Okay. And did you actually issue these to the two officers?
I hand issued them.
Okay. And what then, if anything, kind of involved Chief Swanson past that point of you issuing these?
I spoke to Chief Swanson about it. He was aware of it. I informed him that my intent was to issue these. He agreed. When I did issue them to the officers, one of them in particular became more upset about it than the other one, and talked to Chief Swanson about it. Chief Swanson came to me and wanted to walk it back.
Can you tell us a little more specifically what he said? If you
Yeah,
recall?
we discussed back and forth a little. It wasn't a lengthy conversation, but it was a conversation about him possibly wanting to not issue it or lessen it, and then issue it to the officer. And I felt that it would undermine us if that was the case.
And is that because, you have a situation where you're the supervising officer that it undermines if the chief reduces something that you've put forward?
That, and it's just a slippery slope. If we start issuing orders to folks and then they don't do them and then nothing happens, that's a problem.
Okay. And which of the two officers was the one that Chief Swanson approached you about backing off of the discipline? Or,
Officer-
I'm sorry, those weren't your words, walking back the discipline.
Officer Aurora.
Do you know what became of the discipline notice for Officer Tarleton?
I don't.
Okay. Okay. Did Chief Swanson ever tell you what ended up happening with the discipline on Officer Aurora?
No.
Okay. And did you specifically tell Chief Swanson you were concerned, words to this effect, you were concerned about the undermining effect if he was to reduce somehow the Aurora discipline that you administered?
Yes, I did express that to him.
Okay. Now, I'm going to take you to Exhibit 7 in the book. It's the next one. And again, just so everyone's clear, that's a no confidence letter issued by the New England Police Benevolent Association.
Correct.
Okay. I understand you did not participate in the vote that resulted in this letter?
I did not.
Okay. You are a member of the union.
I am.
Okay. Have you reviewed the letter?
If I have a moment.
Yes. Okay. And my question is, do you agree with the description of concern stated in the letter?
I do.
Okay. You, in your assessment, since you've been there for the time you were there and Chief Swanson was active as chief, you believe the letter is an accurate description of concerns in terms of the way he's performed in that position?
I do.
Now, you are aware that Chief Swanson was placed on administrative leave in October of 2024?
Yes.
Okay. And were you aware that one of the instructions from the manager regarding administrative leave was to not come into the department without prior authorization?
Correct.
Okay. And in February of 2025, did there come occasion when Chief Swanson did indicate that he wished to access the department?
Yes.
And do you know what it was that he indicated he wished access for?
It was something to the, to involving, training records, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Turn to page, exhibit number 35, I should say. Are you able to identify what that is?
I am.
What is it?
It's a text message from Chief Swanson to me.
Okay, the text on the left is Chief Swanson,
Yes,
and you respond, okay?
yes.
And just tell the trustees, what are you saying to each other here?
Chief Swanson asked me to, he informed me that he was going to come and get training documents from his office. And then when he writes in there in the folder, I can assume he means the training folder. Please leave my office unlocked so I can get in. I said, okay.
Okay. Then did you at some point receive a report of what happened on February 20th?
Could you put that in more
Yeah,
context?
with respect to Chief Swanson coming to the department.
Yes, I had been up at town hall and for maybe an hour, a little more, and when I came back to the office at the police department, the staff was upset that Chief Swanson had come in and posted a copy of a letter next to our schedule. I believe he gave one to Michelle Sutherland and then gave one to Beth Therrien, and Beth Therrien was not pleased because he said something to the effect of, "I'll be back."
Okay. You heard concern from both Beth and Michelle?
I did.
Okay. And did you notify the municipal manager, Mr. Duffy, about what you were informed?
I did.
Okay. And if you could take a look for us at Exhibit 13. Okay. Is that an email where you reported the situation to Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Okay. In your assessment, is what Chief Swanson did with respect to distributing that notice and talking to Therrien and Sutherland consistent with what he texted you?
It was Sutherland and Therrien. No, could you repeat that question one more
Yeah.
time, please?
Does what he actually did that day line up with what he told you in the text he was coming in to do?
No, it does not. The text led me to believe that he came in for training materials, and instead he handed a letter to Sutherland and Therrien and said, "I'll be back" to Therrien.
Was there, as far as you could see, was there any sort of Woodstock Police Department operational or business reason for him to have to give those letters to those folks?
No.
Did he have to access their workspaces to obtain his training records?
No.
I'm nearing completion with the witness, but I'd like to, before I lose it, move admission of the exhibits we've discussed, which I have as 5, 13, 35, and 37.
Thank you. Exhibits 5, 13, 35, and 37 are admitted.
Okay. Sergeant O'Keefe, are you the most experienced full-time working officer currently employed at Woodstock PD?
Yes.
Okay. Have you given any thought to your employment there in the event Chief Swanson is going to be reinstated to serving as chief?
I would more than likely move on.
And can you explain briefly why you feel that way?
It's the demonstration of leadership, lack of oversight, mainly.
Okay. One other thing, if I could ask you, have others reported similarly to you of the same vein that they feel they would leave the department if Chief Swanson were reinstated to active service as chief?
Yes.
And have folks explained to you why?
Some have, some have not.
Okay. And again, what do you think the impact, if anything, on department morale would be if Chief Swanson were returned to active service as chief?
Very low.
Okay. I don't have any further questions for you at this time. Thank you.
Council?
Thank you. Septimoki, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just have some questions for you. Before October 13th, when Chief Swanson was put out on leave, had you ever spoken to Mr. Duffy about Chief Swanson?
Yes, I did.
Did you speak with Mr. Duffy before Chief Swanson's performance evaluation that he had in June or so of 2023?
No,
You didn't have any conversations ever with Mr. Duffy about Chief Swanson before June of 2023?
not that I recall.
So you worked with Chief Swanson for a year and never felt the need to discuss anything with Mr. Duffy?
Not to that point, no.
Okay. And you never brought up any desire to leave under Chief Swanson's leadership before October 13th, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And after October 13th, when actually Chief Swanson was put on leave October 15th, within 2 days, you got an email from Mr. Duffy, correct?
I don't recall.
May I approach?
Yes.
This is Swanson Exhibit 19 I'm referring to right now. Just 2 days after Chief Swanson was put on administrative leave by Mr. Duffy, he sent you an email and asked you if you felt comfortable sending it out to all of your employees, correct?
I'd have to review it.
Yes, please do.
Okay.
So that's an email, you agree, this is an email to you from Mr. Duffy, correct?
Correct.
On October 17th at 3:53 PM, correct?
That's what it says.
And it's asking you to share if you feel comfortable. Did you feel comfortable sharing this with all of your employees?
I don't remember if I did or not, to be honest.
But he's asking you, he says, over the last few days, I've heard various complaints about issues surrounding the police department and potential concerns over the supervisor of the department. I want everyone to know that I take all these complaints seriously. That's the first paragraph, correct?
Correct.
Then he says, however, there is a difference between a conversation that is told to me and an official complaint. To clarify, hearing what one person told to another does not give the town the ability to file and investigate a complaint. If anyone has a complaint to make, I would ask them to reach out to either Sergeant O'Keefe or me with either a written statement, email, or ask to make an official complaint or statement. Any conversation statement will remain confidential, and if an investigation is warranted, will remain confidential until the conclusion of said investigation. Did I read that correctly?
You did.
And you don't remember if you sent this to your employees or told
No,
them?
my memory is refreshed. I did pass that on. I did speak to the staff.
Okay, and you told them that you invited them to share any written complaints if they had any?
I expressed to them what it was in the email.
Okay, you didn't receive any written statements or emails or official complaints or statements as a result of this, correct?
I don't recall receiving anything in writing, but verbally, yes.
But you didn't, if the email asked for writing, you didn't receive anything in writing?
Not that I can recall.
Okay,
I can't definitively answer that. I don't remember.
okay. But you certainly aren't producing any, you don't have anything in writing that you know of,
Not on my person, no.
or in your office?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And then I'd like to refer to Swanson Exhibit 20. First of all, I'd like to have that admitted, Exhibit 19.
Any objection?
Well, just to go back to, again, not seeing the relevance of process that leads to the facts that the trustees are hearing in the testimony today, but if that's been overruled in a umbrella fashion, I'll stop making that objection.
I don't think it's been overruled in an umbrella fashion, but I do think this still gets to some of the relevance of the substance behind the discipline, so I think it's admissible, and I will admit it. So Swanson Exhibit 19 is admitted.
And the next exhibit is Exhibit 26. And again, while I'm here, Sergeant O'Keefe, let's look at that together. On November 7th, this was, so you got the first email, you shared it with employees, you didn't get anything in writing, and then you get this second email from Mr. Duffy on November 7th, correct?
I didn't say I didn't get anything in writing. I don't remember if I had received anything in
Well,
writing.
you certainly haven't produced anything in writing.
I don't have it in my
Objection.
pocket, though.
Objection to asking these witnesses, why aren't they producing information here at this hearing? It's not their role.
Well, if he has documents, I'm asking him if he produced them.
Yeah, it's not his obligation to produce them, so we can move on.
Did you
from
bring them to anyone's attention?
I don't remember.
Did you ever tell Mr. Duffy you had received any written complaints?
I don't recall.
Okay. So on November 7th, we have another email to you labeled confidential, importance high from Mr. Duffy, correct?
Correct.
And this time, he's saying, as you know, the Vermont State Police investigation into Joe Swanson is closed and no criminal charges were filed. This investigation was started and kicked over to the VSP due to two factors. One, the alleged victim said that both the operator and his buddy got out of the vehicle and charged him, the driver being Joe's husband, and the buddy being Joe Swanson. As this implied criminal behavior, it was necessary to investigate this as such. So Mr. Duffy's telling you on November 7th that something about Chief Swanson implied criminal behavior, correct?
May I ask what exhibit this is? I apologize.
It's exhibit number 26. So that's the first paragraph, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then he tells you, he's been trying, he's telling you in the third paragraph, Bill Burgess is planning on coming to Town Hall Tuesday, November 12th, to be available for any employees that fall under the direction of the police chief. The meetings can start at 10 a.m. Can you please let employees know of this opportunity? The third party is here to ensure transparency and an investigation without bias. Did you, in fact, advise your employees of the opportunity to meet with Mr. Burgess?
I informed them that they had the ability to meet with the investigator, correct?
But you didn't.
Counsel, can you pause your examination for a question? Mr. Selden, thank you. Have a good day. Mr. Selden, please leave the proceeding. I'm tired of the disruptions. You've been disrupting me all day.
I haven't done anything.
You were just disrupting, and I'm tired of it. This has been happening all day. You may now leave the room. Thank you.
He was totally quiet. I'm sitting next to
Anybody
you.
else who's speaking, I will ask you to leave as well.
You're the guy that's abusing the audience. We are not doing
This is
anything.
all on video, right? Is this all on video? It will reflect the fact that I've done
Please
nothing.
leave the room right now.
I will not.
Deputy?
I will be sending a letter to Vermont Bar. This is abusive treatment. You're trying to intimidate us and humiliate us, and I don't take it lightly.
You're
I'm a former judge. I'm a former attorney in California. I was a state bar representative.
I'm not going to put up with this.
You're biased.
Your bias on this whole proceeding is outrageous. It really is.
You're an insult to a bar. You know that?
Really, it's pathetic. It's outrageous.
You'll be hearing from
The
me.
two of you as well. I am ordering you both out of the room now.
I never want to see you again. You're
I wasn't speaking, so guilty by
And
association.
we're just all being kicked out one by one. So let's go.
You as well.
Come on,
We
let's
were
go.
totally
Oh,
sorry.
you're out too. Come on, let's go.
I'm ashamed of all of you.
Pathetic.
I've lived here
Pathetic.
for
I
40
want this on the
years, and
record
I'm
because I'm
ashamed
gonna-
of all of you.
I really hope there was a video of
Kicking us out for really no reason.
No, Kathy, are you going to be going next? I don't know who's going
Everyone's
next.
supporting Joe going out.
Sir, You were yelling at me as well, and I'm tired
That's
of it.
why this man is leaving.
Because he's yelling at me.
Outrageous.
He
Outrageous.
yelled and raised his voice.
He hasn't been saying anything. I never said nothing. I never said. This is my husband. He hasn't said a thing.
When I asked these folks to leave, you raised your voice and yelled at me.
I didn't. He didn't.
He was totally silent. I'm sitting right next to him.
I'm sitting behind.
I was silent, so was Nick.
I'm sorry. I will.
I don't know what you
Looks to me
think
like
you
you're
saw,
up and yelling,
but this is absurd.
along with everybody else.
This man was not yelling. It's my husband. He was not yelling. You can do what you want, but he was not yelling.
This is really disgusting. This is not the way things usually run. Okay, I've been through a lot of these things.
All right. I may be mistaken because I thought.
Insulting and-
He was not. I can represent.
I apologize,
Bar
but
and to
the other
party.
folks have interrupted the proceeding and they
I understand, but not this man. Okay,
Just wait a moment until these folks have left.
I will.
Disrupting our proceeding.
I will.
And I'll just be clear, again, this is a quasi judicial proceeding. The employee has asked it to be open to the public, and that's fine. But because we owe the witnesses respect, we owe this board respect, we cannot tolerate interruptions, and these folks interrupted, and so they have to leave. And that goes for anybody else, so I'm asking that please stop. And don't shake your heads at me, okay? That is also an interruption, so I will not tolerate that. Thank you. Counsel, please proceed.
Yes, I'm sorry, with the interruption, I don't know if I asked for Swanson Exhibit 26 to be admitted, but I am asking for that to be admitted.
I'm sorry, just a quick question. Are you done with 26?
I
Everything kind of went a little.
I wasn't sure if I was done with it. Hold on, let me look at it. No, actually, I wasn't done. May I continue?
You absolutely may continue. Are we talking about 26 or 27?
We're talking about 26 in November 7th.
Okay.
Email. I think my last question, Sergeant O'Keefe, about this was that you were to stress upon the employees the need to keep this confidential and not have the public or anyone else know about it, correct?
That's what it says.
Okay. Did it occur to you, Sergeant O'Keefe, that conducting a secret investigation of your chief of police would undermine, or the fact that Mr. Duffy was conducting, not you personally, would be undermining his authority? You talked about undermining authority if a ticket or a reprimand was somehow not upheld. What about conducting a secret investigation on the chief of police? Did that occur to you?
No.
It never did?
No.
Okay. But you didn't participate. You did not provide any statements. You did not meet with Mr. Burgess, correct?
I met with Mr. Burgess after the interviews were conducted.
You did not provide him a formal interview.
I did not.
But you knew that that was your opportunity to bring up any issues you had with Chief Swanson around unprofessional behavior or misconduct, correct?
Yes, I did.
And you chose not to take up that opportunity.
That's correct.
And I think I was talking about the evaluation. You were not asked by Mr. Duffy about anything related to Chief Swanson's performance in his first year before he did his evaluation?
Not that I recall, no.
Okay. Let me just ask you what about the written review in September 2024? Were you ever asked anything from Mr. Duffy about Chief Swanson's evaluation?
No.
Okay. And you never spoke, he never asked you if he was doing a great job or if his officers liked him?
Not that I recall, no.
Okay. So let me just ask you if you agree or disagree that in June of 2024, that Chief Swanson was responsive, he works well, and he accomplished tasks on time. Do you agree or disagree with Mr. Duffy's assessment?
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what responsive, works well, tasks accomplished on time means?
I don't know what you're reading from.
I'm reading from an evaluation. I'm just asking if you agree with that statement.
No, I don't.
Oh, so Mr. Duffy had it wrong when he said that Chief Joe Swanson was responsive, works well, and accomplished things on time.
That's your response, not mine.
No, I'm reading from the evaluation. Actually, may I approach again, Your Honor?
Yeah,
Exhibit 8.
your exhibit A.
Our Exhibit 8. This is Chief Swanson's evaluation form from the period of time from July 15th to June 30th, 2024, from Mr. Duffy. Okay?
Okay.
So now I'm just asking you if you agree or disagree with the comments. These are Mr. Duffy's comments. And the first one was responsive, works well, tasks accomplished on time. You disagree with that?
And what is the time frame?
The first year of Chief Swanson's work.
Okay, well, you have to understand I wasn't here for the entirety of that.
Okay.
Um,
But the time you were there, do you agree with that or disagree with that?
I would disagree with that.
Okay. Provides again, from the evaluation, provides notice of leave, attends all meetings. You would disagree with that as well?
I don't know if he attended all the meetings or not.
Okay. Let's just move on. Well, you wouldn't be able to comment on Mr. Duffy's trust in his decision-making process, but did you, before October 13th, trust in Chief Swanson's decision-making process?
October 13th of 24?
Yep.
No, I did not.
And you never brought that to his supervisor's attention?
No, I did not.
Did you know that Chief Swanson, for his first year, was on probation and could be terminated at any time?
I think probably 90% of the department was on probation. They were all new employees.
Okay, so you knew that if there was anything that Chief Swanson was doing wrong in his first year, and you brought it to Mr. Duffy, that he could be let go without cause, right?
I did not know that.
Okay, but you knew he was on probation?
Yes.
Okay, but you didn't bring anything to Mr. Duffy's attention while he was on probation?
No, I did not.
Okay, and moving on, there's a manager comment. Officers seem happy and enjoy working with the chief. On this evaluation, I assume you disagree with that too,
Yes.
but you never brought it to Mr. Duffy's attention that you thought the officers were unhappy.
Correct.
Okay. According to Mr. Duffy, again, his own words, continues to build leadership skills and managing skills. You don't agree with that?
No.
Okay, but you never brought that to Mr. Duffy's attention,
No, I did not.
okay? Let's see. Great knowledge of community and players. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so that's the only thing you agree with so far that I've said. What about this? Works to make department more efficient. Do you agree with that?
I'm indifferent.
Works hard and provides and promotes work of staff. Do you agree with that?
The promotion of the staff.
Okay. But you were never consulted and you never saw this evaluation.
I've never seen that before, no.
And you never provided any input to Mr. Duffy about any concerns that would affect Chief Swanson's evaluation, his annual evaluation.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to have Swanson Exhibit 8 admitted into evidence as well.
Counsel, any objection?
No objection.
Employees Exhibit 8 is admitted.
At some point, Mr. Duffy informed you that a decision had come back from the Vermont Criminal Justice Council that indicated no unprofessional conduct on the part of Chief Swanson, correct?
I don't recall.
Is it possible he never shared that with you?
I don't recall.
So if you don't recall, one way or the other, it's possible he never showed that to you. Is that right?
That's your words, not mine.
Well, you don't have any recollection of ever seeing it.
I don't recall ever seeing anything from the Criminal Justice Training Council, no.
And did Mr. Duffy ever tell you that Chief Swanson that a finding had come back of no unprofessional conduct?
I believe there was a conversation at some point. I don't know the timeline.
You don't know when that occurred? It could have been yesterday? Is that right?
Again, I don't know the timeline.
Okay, so yesterday is as good as 2 weeks ago?
Sure.
Okay. So you talked about quitting if Chief Johnson comes back. That's a decision you made in the last few months?
I don't quit anything. I never said I was gonna quit. I said I would leave.
Leaving. Do you think you would be leaving by your own volition, or somebody would be asking you to leave?
I would probably leave on my own volition.
Okay. That's different than quitting.
Quitting would be getting out of the job. I'd stay in law enforcement.
Okay. So what is your plan?
My plan?
Yeah, if Chief Swanson comes back, where are you going to go work?
I don't know.
You haven't applied for any place?
No.
Is that because you're hoping to be chief?
No. I'm in no rush to make any conclusions.
Well, you're acting chief now.
Right?
Okay. And who are these other people that are going to quit?
It's the other folks that work at the police department.
Could you be more specific?
I don't really want to speak for them.
Well, you have spoken for them. You said they're going to quit, so tell us who they are.
Officer Charlton, Officer Aurora, Officer Murphy, Corporal Murphy, Officer Turco, Officer Donka. A couple of the part-time folks have made mention. I believe that's everybody.
So people are going to quit even if they haven't come here today. You're saying that they've told you that they're going to quit.
They have, yes, verbally told me that.
Okay. And so when Chief Swanson did not support your, the way that you thought the discipline should be handled for two of your officers, you felt that was significantly undermining your authority, correct?
Yes,
And the chain of command is very important in a police department, right?
correct,
Fostering respect for the chief among staff is very important.
correct.
And as the second in command, your job is to implement the chief's directives and to support him, right?
And I did.
Do you think you've supported him in the last 5 months?
In the past 5 months, no, he's not here.
So you haven't supported him because he hasn't been at work. Is that right?
If,
Okay.
Sure, yes.
All right. And you never discussed with Mr. Duffy that conducting this investigation into Chief Swanson and inviting his employees to make complaints would be undermining Chief Swanson's authority and reputation.
No,
You agree that it is ultimately the chief's decision about discipline matters, correct? That as the boss, he is in charge of those things.
correct.
Okay. And you talked about some problems with the staff when you came on board. It was a fairly new staff at that point, right?
Correct.
And isn't it true that you have to work with what you have when you're a chief or when you're a supervisor?
Of course.
And Chief Swanson did work with what he had, right? He did get one of those officers into level 3 instead of level 2, right?
That officer was not part of the discussion.
What discussion?
Yes, there was an earlier on when I said there were 2 officers in particular, I believe. The third officer, Officer Turco, yes, did go to the police academy.
Okay, so he got one of them, and did you know the other one was actually under a contract with the former Chief Blish, and that Chief Swanson couldn't make him go to academy because of his contract with Attorney Blish?
Yes, I understand that.
Okay, so you knew that that wasn't Chief Swanson's decision.
Correct.
Okay. And, oops, you talked about an incident where Chief Swanson was attending a trial and there was talk in the police department about where he was and why he was there, right?
Correct.
You don't know whether Chief Swanson had permission, in fact, from Mr. Duffy to attend that trial, do you?
No, I do not.
Okay. And there was a thing you talked about scheduling, but you were actually put in charge of scheduling by Chief Swanson, right?
I was after the disaster that was scheduling. Yeah, I did take the schedule over.
So he gave you that authority. When you were unhappy with the scheduling, he gave it to you, right?
Yes, correct.
Are you aware that there are several employees who are actually upset with the fact that you work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 or something like that, and Not nights and weekends, anyway.
When do you suggest the acting chief works?
No, I'm saying when you were sergeant, I'm sorry. When you were sergeant, were you upset, were you aware that you were actually the target of officers' complaints to Chief Swanson about scheduling issues?
Yes, I was aware.
Objection.
You are aware.
There's no foundation in the record for this information.
I tend to agree, there is no foundation for this.
He testified about being unhappy with how Chief Swanson did scheduling issues. That was direct testimony.
Counsel?
There's lack of foundation that other people have made complaints about Sergeant O'Keefe.
Well,
That's
hearsay
just-
have been allowed the entire time.
Yeah, she does have a good point, and we have generally been allowed hearsay. I mean,
Okay,
it
but
seems like you're done.
She's testifying to the hearsay, not him is the problem.
It's a cross-examination question, so
Okay.
in that respect, it's all right. But we've also had an answer, and we're moving on, I think.
Pardon me?
We've had an answer, and we're moving on, right?
Right, exactly.
Let's move
So
on.
you were aware, I think, was the answer, right?
Yes.
And do you believe that Chief Swanson should make you work nights and weekends because other officers are unhappy with your schedule?
I made an agreement with Chief Swanson that I came on that I would work on weekends and as needed for X amount of time, and then when we were fully staffed and functional, I would work day shift.
But my question is, should Chief Swanson base his executive decisions on the unhappiness of other officers when it comes to your schedule?
Repeat that one more time, please.
Yes, should Chief Swanson base his executive decisions on scheduling issues when it comes to your schedule?
Yes.
Bases on the unhappiness of other, I'm sorry, now I'm all mixed up. Should Chief Swanson base his executive decisions about your schedule on the unhappiness, should he take into account the unhappiness of other officers?
He has the final say.
Right, okay. You agree that reasonable minds can disagree about many issues surrounding leadership and communication, right?
Yes,
And you haven't been to any leadership training, correct?
I have.
It's been offered to you, right?
Not through, when I worked for the state, I did attend the Leadership Institute.
But since you've been in Woodstock, you have been offered leadership training that you haven't gone to, correct?
From who?
Chief Swanson.
Not that I recall.
You don't recall him offering you any opportunities to go to leadership training?
I don't recall.
Okay. So your job was to help train these officers that you were complaining about, correct?
Correct.
So if you feel there are deficiencies in their training, that's on you too, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You were claiming inadequate preparation of parades, and were you familiar with how parades were conducted under the former chief?
Yes, I was.
Were you there?
No, I was not.
How were you informed?
By senior people that worked at the department.
So other people came to you and said, oh, things were much better under Chief Blish around parades?
Yes, Michelle Sutherland, Mark Donka, Beth Therrien all expressed that Chief Blish had rosters made up and assignments, maps. There were plans in place.
Okay. But you agree that that's another area that's under the chief's discretion, how to handle that?
Yes.
Okay. And you don't have any information, when you said that the chief was missing or you didn't know where he was, you don't have any information of what he was doing during those times, correct?
Not that I recall.
Okay, he could have been patrolling, right?
Pardon?
He could have been patrolling,
Sure.
could have been in physical therapy. He could have been on official business, right?
Okay.
Okay. And are you the one that went through Chief Swanson's files to find the incomplete investigations?
Check the form.
The incomplete death investigation, let's just be specific. Were you the one that went through his files to find that?
Answer if you can.
Do you understand?
Yes, I was.
Okay. So you went through 15 months of Chief Swanson's files?
I don't recall going through 15 months of files. There was a handful of files in a drawer.
And you went through were you asked to find incomplete tasks?
I was asked to find an incomplete death investigation.
Okay, and that was by Mr. Duffy?
I don't recall if it was by Mr. Duffy or Mr. Burgess.
Okay. When you went through these, whatever you went through, you only found one incomplete investigation that was a death investigation?
To the best of my knowledge.
And that was a non-suspicious death, right?
Correct.
Okay. And there's no specific policy that said it had to be done by a certain time, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Did you make any search of Chief Swanson's emails?
No.
Okay. And when you were talking about morale, that's something that can change from week to week, isn't it?
You can.
Okay. In the letter, you said you did not participate in the vote, correct? The union vote?
Correct.
Do you know why it says unanimous on the letter that was sent?
It was unanimous amongst the rest of the union members.
But you are a union member.
I am, but I didn't vote.
So it's unanimous if people abstain from voting?
I don't see why not.
So there may have been others that have abstained and they still called it unanimous.
No, I was the only person that abstained. Everyone else voted yes.
How many people?
Officer Charlton, Officer Turco.
Yeah.
Can you just give us a number, please?
Yeah, 5, I believe. 6.
And did you participate in the publication of that no confidence?
I did.
You gave it to the media?
I did. I gave it to Mr. Donahue.
And were you aware that publishing defamatory information or negative information about employees was actually in violation of protocol?
That's arguing with the witness, and it's,
Were you aware of protocols that prevented the publication of defamatory materials?
No.
the use of the word defamatory is argumentative with the witness. This is a
We
question
have a
about,
policy.
the question is about whether Mr. Swanson, whether the discipline ought to be upheld. Defamation's not part of the board's consideration, so I would ask that you ask a question without that word in it.
Okay, but here's the foundation. Like, the foundation is when people have violated policy, which is what Chief Swanson is being accused of, there is a consideration of disparate treatment about others who have violated policy as well. So I think it is very relevant if Sergeant O'Keefe violated policy that he knew about and nothing was done, but yet Chief Swanson is here and being accused of violating policies, and he's being told that those are cause for his termination.
All right, counsel?
Just if that is a viable reason for admissibility, it's a question for Mr. Duffy, not for Sergeant O'Keefe, as to, hey, O'Keefe said he did this. Duffy, why did you not discipline him for it? Why is this witness being asked about this subject?
I guess I will allow questioning on this topic, but I think the adjective defamatory is argumentative and unnecessary.
Okay, let me quote from the policy. Sergeant O'Keefe, were you aware that employees shall not publicly defame, ridicule, or otherwise undermine the dignity and effectiveness of another town or village employee?
Was I aware?
Yes.
No.
Okay. So you knew that this no confidence letter was going to be published in the newspaper, correct?
No, I did not know.
You gave it to Mr. Duffy, the no confidence letter?
No, I did not.
Okay. So I thought you said earlier that you knew that this was going to be published.
I did not know it was going to be published.
Okay. In that no confidence letter, it was demanded that Chief Swanson be replaced immediately by another chief, correct?
I'd have to refresh my memory with the letter.
You gave, oh, I'm sorry, I think I misunderstood. Earlier you said you gave the no confidence letter to Donahue, I thought, Mike Donahue.
Correct.
Mike Donahue is a reporter, right?
Correct.
You didn't think he was going to publish it.
No, I didn't know. What do you?
Okay.
What is it?
So, back to my actual final question. You demanded that Chief Swanson be replaced immediately by, well, you didn't demand. In the letter that you gave to Mike Donahue, you knew that it demanded that Chief Swanson be replaced immediately by another chief.
I'd have to look at the note and refresh my memory.
All right, let's look at it. Damn it.
I don't remember where it is.
Well, actually, just to move this along, let me represent to you that the letter demanded that a new chief be appointed, that they immediately start looking for a new chief. You don't recall that at all.
I'd have to see the letter.
Well, as acting chief, you would in fact be in line for the job of chief, correct?
Not that I'm aware of.
You wouldn't be applying for chief?
I don't know.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Judge, I may have one or two follow-ups for you. You said that you looked through records for a case of Chief Swanson's. Am I correct in understanding you were looking for a particular case? You were not doing, some kind of broad audit of his cases?
No, it was very specific to find and locate the death investigation report.
And there was some discussion about the level of preparedness or training of officers when you came in to the department, and there was some discussion of the academy. Is whether someone's been through the academy or not the only thing that was of concern to you, or is there something, more nuanced or more specific than just academy or not?
It's just the officers, a handful of the officers expressed to me that they felt that they were sort of just thrown out to the wolves. They didn't have all the training that they felt that they should have before they hit the road.
I just need one moment, please. I think Attorney Fraz asked you when you became aware of whether Mr. Duffy had alerted you that the Vermont Criminal Justice Council had issued a determination, correct?
Correct.
And regardless of when Mr. Duffy, or whether Mr. Duffy did or didn't provide it to you, you obviously, based on what we looked at earlier, you obviously knew about it as of February 20th, correct?
Correct.
One moment. Okay. No further questions. Thank you.
No questions.
Trustees, do you have any questions for this witness?
Thank you.
You're excused. Thank you so much. Yeah, so we've been going for an hour and 13 minutes. I guess my intention would be to, well, we stopped at 2:40. We came back at about 3. So I guess we would go till about 4:30, so we have about 37 minutes or so, so call your next witness if you could.
Okay. I'm going to go look for Beth Therrien.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, please. This is in section 4. They're not wrong. I'm gonna fix it.
Good afternoon. Before you get started, I'm going to swear you in, if that's all right.
Okay.
May I ask you to raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony that you are about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Would you please state your name once again?
Elizabeth Therrien.
Okay. And would you like me to refer you to as Ms. Therrien or Beth or Elizabeth?
Beth is fine.
Okay, thank you, Beth. As you know, my name's John Klesch, and I represent the position of the municipal manager in the proceeding we're here for today. You are a Woodstock employee, is that right?
Yes.
And what's your job?
Dispatch supervisor?
Okay. And you've been requested on behalf of the manager to attend this proceeding today?
Yes.
Okay. So can you tell us how long you've worked for Woodstock?
10 years.
And as dispatch supervisor, what does your job entail?
Making sure that people respond to their calls as needed. Police, fire, ambulance, answering phone calls.
Okay. And do you, as dispatch supervisor, do you manage other employees?
Yes, I have 3 other full-time and 2 part-time.
Okay.
Sorry, 4 other, we just hired another one.
All right. And do you yourself have a regular schedule that you actually work in dispatch?
Yeah, we all work 12-hour rotating shifts.
So do you have a pretty standard days and hours you're on?
I work 7 in the morning till 7 at night, and it rotates. So, what's today? Wednesday. I'm Wednesday, Thursday, and then I'm off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Back on Monday, Tuesday. Off Wednesday, Thursday, and back Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. So not all of your hours are weekday hours, but a good portion of them are?
It's equal between all of us. We all get the same type of schedule. And if somebody wants time off, I work extra.
Okay. But you are you're in dispatch on a pretty regular basis, Monday through Friday?
Depends on the week.
Okay. Okay. And have you, as part of your work, do you, for lack of a better word, sort of keep track of where officers are during scheduled shifts?
Yes.
Okay. And what's that look like? How do you actually do that?
With a computer-aided dispatch system known as Valcor, we just type the information in.
Okay. And what's the expectation in terms of how you get that information to know what some officer status is?
Well, the expectation is that they're going to tell us. Sometimes we have to ask them.
Okay. And let's talk about your observations with Chief Swanson during the time he was serving as chief, okay? Have you run into any difficulty in terms of being aware of his status during shift hours?
I've not always known that he's on duty. I listen for the back door. I look in the camera to see. Sometimes he would call. Sometimes he would get there, and that's when I would know he was on duty. Or if he left the building, he would say, I'm leaving the building, but that doesn't necessarily mean I knew where he was going when he left the building.
Okay. So like on occasions when he's leaving the building during normal shift time, do you ask him if he's going off duty or is it that specific?
I would ask if he was going to go do something outside of the town.
Okay. Tell us what is like the code for on duty, off duty?
41 is for on duty, 42 is off duty.
Okay. Is that shorthand you use with sworn enforcement like Chief Swanson?
10 codes. Those are 10 codes, national 10 codes.
Okay.
Use 10 codes everywhere.
All right. So like, would you ask him if he's heading out of the building, are you 41 or 42?
Yeah, if he was going to go to some, like an appointment somewhere, do you want me to put you 41 or do you want me to leave you 41, take you off? What do you want me to do?
Okay. And I mean, do you need to know to do your job, which it is?
I don't need to know, but, well, I do kind of need to know because if you're 42, then I don't have to check on you again. Because I figure, okay, you're safe, you're home. If you're not 42, I'm going to have to check on you to make sure that you are still alive.
Okay. Does it also make a difference whether someone's available to respond to matters?
Yeah, I mean, if there's an emergency call and I have the chief on the board and another officer, I'm going to send both. But if he's not answering the phone or the radio, or I don't know that he's actually not there, you know,
Okay. And are there occasions when you've had trouble reaching Chief Swanson when he's not in the building?
yeah, but it could be the radios themselves. It's hard to say. It just depends on where the person is.
Mhm.
And then it's calling or texting and waiting for a call back.
Okay. So you know when people are coming into the building, officers are coming into the building?
Yeah, the door.
Yep.
I just listen for the door.
Okay. And what have you observed about, again, since he's been chief, since July 2023 through October 2024, what did you see in terms of Chief Swanson's, like arrive times and departing times when you were there?
I don't recall ever seeing him there before me. So whether or not he was on duty at 6 in the morning or on duty after 7, I don't recall him ever being in the building before me.
Okay. And how about in terms of what is like kind of typical in terms of when you have seen him arrive to the building? Is there a set time or is it?
Anywhere between 8 and 9.
Okay. And has he asked you to sign him in as being on active duty before you've seen him for the day?
He told me to have my midnight shift dispatcher put him on at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, that's happened more than once?
Mhm.
And you say yes out loud?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. What did you tell your dispatcher who told you that?
Oh, he told me this to do. I would tell my dispatcher that Joe said sign him on at 6 o'clock, but don't sign him on until he comes in the door.
Why wouldn't you do that?
Because I don't know what he's doing from 6 o'clock till whatever time he comes in the door. He could be at home still sleeping. He could be walking the dog. He could be doing whatever. I don't know. I can't call from my house and say, put me 41. I'm on my way.
Mhm.
I leave my house at 6 o'clock.
Okay. Now, another thing have you had the experience of during shift hours of Chief Swanson leaving for what you have some reason to know is personal business instead of department business?
Yeah,
And what are some examples of that?
going to get haircuts, going over to the courthouse to watch proceedings that weren't town-related.
Do you know where Chief goes for a haircut?
I don't know. I think Hartford.
Okay. And can you speak to the extent to which Chief Swanson is involved in patrols that you've seen versus like what it was like with other chiefs such as maybe Chief Blish?
As far, like, when you say patrols, what do you mean? Like, does he go do patrols like that? Or does he pay attention to what the other officers are doing patrolling?
Yeah, thanks for your question. So, for example, is foot patrol something a chief might do?
Yep, Robbie did it all the time, and his foot patrols were actual foot patrols, stop in and visit people. Joe's foot patrols typically were park at the cruiser stand, go to the post office, or get a coffee, and then go back to the cruiser stand and head out.
And
Occasionally, his foot patrols, he would tell me, start me a foot patrol, and I would say, where are you going? Oh, to the courthouse. That's not a foot patrol. That's just going to the courthouse.
okay. And now, so it sounds like Chief Swanson's arrive time to the department is inconsistent in terms of when he gets there sometimes.
Yes.
And have you heard other officers say anything about the impression that makes on them?
One of the other officers have said when he showed up late one day, well, Joe does it, so I guess I can and I won't get in trouble. That's not how you should do it.
Okay. Have you talked to Chief Swanson about you receiving complaints from the public about them having difficulty reaching him?
We did have a discussion about that, yes. When his voicemail was full and I said, you need to empty your voicemail because I don't want to get yelled at anymore.
Okay. And is that something that got fixed with one conversation, or is that a problem that,
He emptied his voicemail because I don't think he likes me yelling at him either.
okay. Now, one of the things, right, dispatchers will do is contact the chief when the chief's not around because they feel it's some issue rises to chief level.
Correct, yes.
Okay. And so probably that involves some, contacting them at times that aren't convenient or aren't awesome to get a call in the morning or early hours or something, right?
Yes.
Okay. And has Chief Swanson ever expressed to you some unhappiness about getting contacted by one of your dispatchers?
Yes.
And what do you remember about that?
Am I allowed to say it?
Yes.
He said, tell her to stop fucking calling me.
And what kind of impression did that make on you?
It made a very bad impression on me
Why?
because I get called all the time and I will answer even when I'm sleeping, I pick up the phone and I answer it. If I'm at my other job, I call back or I text. I let them know that I will be in contact with them. They will get an answer from me. And that's how a leader should lead.
And again, like compared to prior chiefs you've worked under who are getting these, probably irritating, calls during the night and so on, what was the attitude you experienced there?
Robbie would always be like, okay, I'm on my way. Or, he would just let us know what we needed to do differently. There was an expectation. We knew what his expectation was. He knew what we needed. He would either come to work, and if that meant early in the morning, or he would tell me to pass along to them what he needed.
Okay. And you're not saying that Chief Swanson never, took off-hour calls from dispatch?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm sure he did, because they called him, but that's not the response that you should give. What happens if the place is burning down? That's the response you want. Okay.
By the way, was it any sort of habit of Chief Blish to contact dispatch and say, put him on duty at 6 a.m. before there was any sight of him?
No, he was always in the door, either 6 a.m. or before that.
And when he was always in the door, as you say, what kind of uniform state was he in?
Always dressed in his uniform. I mean,
Okay.
unless he was coming in on a personal day to, grab something, it was rare that I saw him not uniformed.
Okay. Have you observed Chief Swanson out of uniform around the department?
I've observed it.
Okay. Have you had occasions, Beth, where you needed to bring what you felt were, sort of operational or personnel concerns to Chief Swanson's attention?
Operational, yeah. Yeah, both. Operational and, yes.
Okay. And I'll probably ask you for some examples, but just can you give us an overarching sense of like what kind of response you get from him when you bring up those kinds of issues?
No kind of response. It's more of a, oh, okay. And I never feel like it's going to get resolved or it's going to get taken care of. It's that.
Okay. And are you looking for something different from your chief when that sort of thing happens?
I'm looking for this to be resolved, this issue. I'm looking for that person who have I made a statement to that needs to be, addressed. If it's not getting addressed and that officer or other employee is continuing to do the behavior that created it, that's a problem. You can't be their friends and their bosses. You have to be a midpoint.
So has he done anything that like specific responses to a specific complaint you remember that you thought the reaction wasn't what it should be?
Yeah, numerous times I told him that he needed to speak to one of the newer officers in reference to his driving, because I would leave work and I'd drive in Route 4, go around a corner, and there's that officer in my lane driving really fast.
And what do you remember Chief Swanson's response when you brought it to his attention?
He would say okay, but it's not really even what the response is. It's the feeling you get. Are you going to address this issue? Okay. It's just, it never felt like it was going to get addressed.
Now, is something that dispatch has to work with is when there's a call to, a complaint or an incident, and you have to worry about getting backup for the on-duty officer.
Yeah.
Okay. And am I understanding that one of the, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is there something about Chief Swanson's directions to you on that subject that you think is concerning in terms of his decision-making?
I think it's very unclear. I've been told we call the on-call person. To me, it's unclear. It's very unclear. In the past, it's always been outside agencies is backup for emergency purposes, and the on-call person is to come in if they need to cover if there's an emergency. So like if an officer is dealing with a car accident, let's say, and they're going to be at that scene for longer than 30 minutes, you need to call in your on-call person to come in and cover the village. If it's domestic and you only have one officer on, you send that officer to that domestic, but then you call an outside agency because they are ready to go. In their cars, you know, we have surrounding agencies, Windsor County Sheriffs if they're on duty, Hartford, and State Police. Any one of those could be called to respond as an outside backup agency.
And when you say domestic, you're giving an example like a domestic violence report?
Correct, yeah.
And the difference between that and the motor vehicle scene is what, the potential for danger?
Absolutely. If you send a single officer to a domestic scene, you might end up with more than just the victim for the domestic. You might also have a victim in your officer. If you have to send the ambulance, you might have victims there. It's all a matter of it's unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen.
Have you asked Chief Swanson about why are you saying use on call? Why aren't we doing it the way we've done it before?
I don't think I ever did ask.
Are you aware, Beth? Well, sorry, to back up. Are you a member of the NEPBA union?
Yes,
Okay. And are you aware that the union issued a no confidence letter?
yes.
Okay. And I'll just ask you to turn to Exhibit 7 in that book in front of you there, tab number 7. Is that the no confidence letter?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And had you personally thought about pursuing the subject of a no confidence letter prior to the time Chief Swanson went on leave?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And is the fact that there was some word that Chief may have been involved in some kind of an issue or incident around a motor vehicle in October 2024, is that any sort of reason that you felt a no confidence letter should be issued?
No, it was prior to that.
Okay. So just to be clear, the fact that there was some concern whether potentially Chief Swanson was involved in some motor vehicle issue, that was not something that you felt was a reason for a no confidence letter?
That just pushed it along. I was already in that zone months ago.
Okay. And pushed it along, meaning employee complaints were brought forward at that point
Yeah,
or after that?
yeah.
Do you agree with what's stated in the no confidence letter?
Yep.
Now, do you recall a situation where Chief Swanson came into the department in February during the time he was on administrative leave?
Yes.
Okay. And were you aware he was going to be coming to the building that day?
I was told he would be coming to the building to pick up training records.
Okay. And did he in fact come into your office?
He did.
Okay. Was there any business reason for him to be there?
None at all.
Okay. What did he do when he came into your office?
He handed me a piece of paper from the Vermont Criminal Justice Council showing with a highlighted spot that he was not, he had not been found guilty of anything. And he also stated that.
Okay. Did he say anything else to you?
I said, yeah, and he said, I'll be back.
Okay. And I'll just so you can make clear on the record, you turn to Exhibit 10. And is that, do you recall, was that the letter you were handed?
It appears, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It's, the fact that it's not highlighted is throwing me off.
Okay. And is there any reason for your work that you needed to receive this letter on that day?
Absolutely not.
Okay. How did the fact that Chief Swanson came into your space on that day, how did that affect you, if at all?
Made me feel threatened.
In what respect?
Retaliation matters. Am I gonna have a job? You'll be back. Am I still gonna be here? Are you gonna go after everybody because this is what we brought?
Well, we brought, what are you talking, you're talking about the no confidence?
All of it.
You, for example, let me just make it clear, right? Like, you didn't have anything to do with whether there was an investigation over what may have occurred on October in a motor vehicle situation.
I was the dispatcher on duty at that time, and the complainant came in to the office, came directly to the
Objection.
office.
Just discussing an issue that is absolutely off of the table in terms of any kind of discipline or misconduct.
Yeah,
All
thank
right,
you.
we'll strike the testimony. The Board of Trustees is not going to rely on that.
Right, so, sorry, Beth, we're not talking about whatever complaints may have been brought to the department about whatever potentially happened in that incident. I'm just trying to make sure I understand whether you're saying, that incident is not what you all were talking about in the no confidence letter.
No, that incident was not what we were talking about.
Okay. And you, in fact, sent Eric Duffy an email letting him know about when Chief Swanson came into your office on February 20th, right?
Yes.
And it looks like the item is Exhibit 12 in that folder, is that right?
Yep.
You could go to flip to the last page and it says tab 1. I don't know why it looks like that, but is that a note or an email that you gave to Mr. Duffy? You gave that to Eric Duffy?
Yes, this is the email I sent to Eric Duffy as well as the union representative,
Okay. Is that C. Hora, NEPVA?
Yeah. Chris Hoare. Yep.
Okay. Last question I have for you for right now, I think, is have you thought about what you're going to do with your position at the department in the event Chief Swanson returns to active service as chief?
Now I'm gonna go work for Rutland City
And can I ask why?
because I can work for Rutland City, and I'm not gonna work for somebody I don't trust.
Do you have anything else? Just, can we clarify one thing with that no confidence letter, which is back to Exhibit 7? And I don't want to ask you about anything about what people discussed or who voted for what, but I see that there's 2 different local numbers there under the signature line. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And is that because there's one union represents sworn and the other represents non-sworn?
One represents the police department, including Michelle, and the other one represents the dispatchers because we had the union first.
Understood. Okay. And by the way, one other quick thing about this letter that we're looking at. As far as you know, this is the actual version that was presented by the union?
Yes.
It's not like a draft or anything?
No.
Okay. Okay, that's all the questions I have for you right now, Beth. I'm sure council here will have some questions.
Thank you.
Counsel?
Good afternoon, Beth.
Hello.
I just have a few questions for you. Up until October 13th, you were not pushing for a no confidence vote in Chief Swanson, correct?
Yes, I was.
At the union?
Yeah, I talked to the union chief or union representative and other employees.
So you were trying to get Chief Swanson terminated before the October 13th?
Yeah. Well, not terminated so much as, hey, this is what you need to do, or this is what's going to happen.
So you thought he should be talked to?
I thought there should be an adult conversation. But yes, I also stated, if he doesn't want to step up, then we need to do the no confidence letter.
So you thought he should be sat down and talked to as adults before any action was taken against him.
I would agree with that, yes.
Okay. And you never did sit down with him and talk to him about these complaints, right?
Nope.
Instead, you just, it sounds like were you the ringleader around the no confidence vote?
If you want to call me a ringleader.
It's argumentative. It's unnecessary. I would appreciate you asking a different question than calling her the ringleader.
Oh, okay, I'll rephrase it. Were you the primary person that was pushing for the vote?
Yep.
Okay. And were you the person that initially went to Mr. Duffy after October 13th about these issues?
I talked to the sergeant. I don't think I went to Mr. Duffy.
So after October 13th, you went to the sergeant.
On October 13th, when the complaint came in afterwards, I talked to the sergeant on that day, and then Mr. Duffy had questions.
The complaints that you brought up today that have nothing to do with October 13th, those were the reasons that you said you were voting no confidence in Chief Swanson?
Correct.
Okay. Now, when you asked Chief Swanson to do things like empty his voicemail, he would do them, correct?
He emptied his voicemail when I asked him to because I told him I was sick of people yelling at me.
And he, in fact, did what you asked him.
Right. Whether or not he actually took care of those voicemails, other than just deleting, is a different story.
Well, you have no proof of that one, do you?
Only from him.
Will he tell you that he
Yes.
just deletes them
Yes, that is what he says. I just delete them.
and doesn't pay attention to any email?
hmm I don't know about his emails. We're not talking about
I mean,
emails.
his phone calls?
Right.
Now, am I correct that there's never been an occasion when Chief Swanson was asked to come in and did not do so? Never one occasion in all your dispatch experience with him as chief?
As chief, when he was asked to come in and did not do so?
Correct.
Yes.
There's never been any occasion?
No, there has been.
All right, let me show you your testimony, your transcript from the interview with me. Is that Coach?
You may, absolutely.
You were asked by Mr. Burgess, have there been occasions when he ever did not respond timely-wise to an incident at those hours early morning that you can think of? And you said, tell me if I'm reading this right, not off the top of my head. It's not like, thankfully, nothing crazy happened. I know he's gotten mad at dispatchers, but you said no, right? Not off the top. You couldn't think of any incident where he had not responded in a timely manner, correct?
I guess that's what I said.
May I ask for the reference in the materials?
Yeah, page 1 to 2, the bottom.
Thank you.
This is in the transcript of the interviews, is that what we're referring to?
With Mr. Burgess, yes. Yes, exactly.
And to be clear, it's not any exhibits by any.
It's not, they're not exhibits.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. And there have been other times when you have instructed Chief Swanson about how you wanted things done, or you chastised him for doing something wrong, correct?
I can't say that I would have chastised him.
Well, let me refer your attention. Do you recall an incident where it was actually not Chief Swanson's fault, but you didn't know it at the time, that you got an angry email from the alert system, the Woodstock use of the Vermont alert system? Does that?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why this would even be a thing, but yes.
Okay, so you got a message that they were unhappy because somebody had used the system for voting purposes, and it was supposed to be only for emergencies, right?
Correct.
And when you got that email, and may I approach, Your Honor? I'm going to.
Yeah.
So this is Exhibit 10. Exhibit 10. When you got that email, Deb, you actually wrote immediately to Chief Swanson.
Yep.
And said, no, it's not that. It's
Oh.
in here.
Okay.
But you can put that away.
Well,
Unless
if I want to read it.
Well, you can't read it during your testimony unless Mr. Duffy's attorney refers to something.
Okay.
So we're gonna put it away. So, on March 1st, 2024.
Yep.
When you got this, when you got this notice telling you that the alert system had been used inappropriately, right?
Mm-hmm.
You wrote to Chief Swanson and said, Joseph, I got angry emails, see below, don't do it again.
Correct.
Beth. So
Okay, so if you consider that chastising, that's fine.
You told them, don't do it again.
Don't do it again.
Okay.
Correct.
And that's how you talk to your chief.
That's how I talk to my friend.
Okay.
And at the time, that is what as a person, I like him.
And
As a
then-
chief, no.
And then actually, you realized that when you sent that off to Mr. Duffy, he told you it was actually his decision,
Mhm.
and the chief had asked him not to do it, and he did it anyway, right?
I guess so, yeah. Well, no, the dispatcher did it because he was
Right.
asked to. Not sure what has to do with me.
But Mr. Duffy told you that it was actually his instruction to Chief Swanson.
Yep, because he was taking responsibility for what he did wrong.
And you never apologized to Chief Swanson for telling him not to do something again that wasn't his fault, did you?
I would still have to tell him not to do something.
Okay. And you would never have sent Mr. Duffy an email like you sent to Chief Swanson, right?
Mr. Duffy is my employer.
And you didn't consider your boss to be Chief Swanson?
He's in charge of the police department. I am the dispatch supervisor.
One of the reasons that you were particularly upset about not knowing where Chief Swanson was at any given time was because you thought he might be misusing town money, that he was actually getting paid for time that he wasn't working, correct?
Yep.
That was a big concern of yours.
Yes, it is.
So you weren't aware that he was actually a salaried employee?
Oh, no, I'm well aware he's a salaried employee. There's a difference between being a salaried employee and doing your job and being a salaried employee and taking advantage of that salary.
But you don't know how many hours that Chief Swanson puts in that you're not aware of on nights and weekends.
I can't say, but also I don't believe that he's actually doing work, so.
So,
Have you ever heard of Deegan? I worked for the state. Jim Deegan
well,
did the same thing.
I'm actually asking the
I'm
questions.
just saying, that is what I'm going off of. Jim Deegan did the same thing.
Okay, but your big accusation against Chief Swanson was that he was somehow getting paid for hours and using town funds inappropriately. And that was not based on any knowledge of
That
what.
was based on observation.
Okay, but you don't have any records. You haven't kept logs of when he's
Observation.
coming.
Yep, it's computer-aided dispatch.
But you haven't brought anything today.
I wasn't told to bring anything today.
Okay. Now, when you've never brought up with Chief Swanson that you were unhappy with his schedule, correct?
It's not my area to bring it up.
Okay.
As an adult, I would hope that he would know.
And you didn't know if he was making up the time when he, for instance, went to get a haircut. You didn't know if he was making that up at
No, I
other
didn't.
times.
I was just going on observations.
And you never discussed with him to ask him to give you some kind of accounting about what was going on.
It's not my job to ask him what kind of accounting is going on.
It's your job to make assumptions about what your employer is
I
doing.
said observations.
Okay.
I don't make assumptions.
Well, when you made the observations that he was out of the office, didn't you make an assumption that it was for
Nope,
not good purposes?
nope.
So if he was actually having a viable reason to be out of the office, it would be fine.
He would usually tell me if he had a viable reason to be out of the office. He would tell me when he had a non-viable reason to be out of the office.
Okay. Did you know every time he went to physical therapy?
Yep,
And he told you that?
yep.
Did you know when he went to, for meetings at various places?
Typically, he would say he was going to town hall.
Okay, so he would tell you when he would tell you where he was going
If he
then.
was going to go to town hall,
And if he was going to physical therapy?
if he was going to physical therapy.
So there were many occasions when he actually told you where he was heading.
Right, but if you're going to an appointment, you are 42, not a shoulder shrug, not a, okay, I can't go to appointments.
You've never seen Chief Swanson's telephone log showing the over 900 calls he responded to on nights, weekends, and holidays in his time as chief?
I don't have access to his phone bill. I have access to my phone.
If Chief Swanson is scheduled for a patrol shift at 6 a.m., that would only be because he was covering for an opening in the shift, right?
No, he should be the daytime officer, 6 a.m. He should be on duty at 6 a.m.
So it's your opinion that Chief Swanson should be showing up at the office every day at 6 a.m.?
He should be the daytime officer, and that should be when the shift starts.
And who made up that rule?
That was that's how the schedule has always been. Since Chief Swanson has taken over, the schedule has not been filled. We don't have police officers on all the time. The village and the town pay for 24-hour service, and they're not getting it.
So you're upset that Chief Swanson is not at his desk at 6 a.m.?
I'm upset that the town and the village are not getting what they pay for.
And to get what they pay for, he would have to be at his desk at 6 a.m.
Should be the 6 o'clock officer, yes.
And that is
If
something,
he's not gonna be the 6 o'clock officer, then he has to make somebody be a 6 o'clock officer.
okay. And when Chief Swanson is patrolling, sometimes there may not be radio service, correct?
Correct. If he was gonna go to South Woodstock, he would say, I'm gonna go hang out in South Woodstock.
Isn't the Sergeant O'Keefe the 6 a.m. officer?
I don't know. I don't know what their schedule is. I have never been informed.
So you're testifying today under oath that Chief Swanson is supposed to be there at 6 a.m. to cover because somebody needs to be there, but you don't know if somebody's there.
He should be there.
He should be there, not delegating it.
He should be a working officer. We don't have enough police officers to not have a working chief.
Okay. If Chief Swanson tells you that something is a one-person job, do you think you have the right to overrule that?
Nope, if he says it's a one-person job, then one person.
But you're not happy with that decision.
That is not my decision to make. That is his choice. If he says whatever an officer is going to is one person, then that's that.
And that should be okay with you.
So I've never questioned that.
Okay.
But that is his choice, and that is on his shoulder if that officer goes and gets injured in some way. That's on him. Not on me, not on any of my dispatchers. That's on him.
One of the other thing is you felt he was trying to get paid for going to the courthouse to watch, I think what you described, I'm quoting you, as his partner, husband, whatever.
Mhm.
That's what you called him.
Well, whatever it was at the courthouse. I'm not saying that his partner or husband is a whatever. I'm saying whatever I don't know half the time if they want to be called partners or husbands.
Okay. And you're not aware that Chief Swanson's job contract actually requires him to put more hours in than 40 hours.
No, I'm aware of what his contract is.
Have you seen his contract?
I have not seen his contract.
Then how are you aware?
I know that they have to do more hours contracted.
Okay. And you've testified about Chief Swanson sometimes not wearing his full uniform in the office. That's not something that has ever negatively bothered you, impacted you, right?
Doesn't it impact me? I don't care how you come to work.
Mhm. And he's actually usually fully dressed in uniform when you do see him in the morning, correct?
I'm not really, like I said, doesn't impact me, so I don't notice it. I know he has come in and been wearing uniform pants and a white t-shirt.
But usually he has on, by the time he goes into the office, he's got his uniform on, right?
He'll have a shirt, yeah,
His uniform.
yes,
Do you call his uniform his whole uniform or just part of his uniform?
part of his uniform sometimes all of his uniform.
So when you say he usually has his
I don't know why.
on,
It doesn't bother me.
okay,
It's not a thing I complained about.
okay. And you've never seen him interact with the public in less than full uniform?
Again, if that's how he wants to go, he can. I don't, it doesn't bother me.
But you've never seen him interact with the public in less than,
I might not have been on duty.
you never filed any kind of formal complaint against Chief Swanson before this, correct?
Nope.
And you testified earlier that you told, that you thought that everybody should sit down and talk with Chief Swanson as adults, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But you never made that happen.
No, I was told to wait.
To wait for what?
Wait to see what happened.
Here? In the,
No,
to wait what?
wait to see what happened over there,
Over where?
over at the police station.
Can you explain that, please?
I brought it up to the union rep and he said, well, just wait and see. Wait and wait.
You never told Mr. Duffy that you thought that you should sit down with Chief Swanson?
No, he wasn't part of the conversation. The conversation was between myself, the sergeant, and Michelle Sutherland.
But if you believe the chief was doing something wrong, you would tell him, right?
Who?
Pardon me?
Tell who?
Chief Swanson?
If I thought he was doing something wrong?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you didn't tell him about the fact that you thought that he was misusing town funds, right?
No.
Okay. And you didn't tell him about the fact that you were upset about his schedule.
No.
So when the chief came to your office on February 20th, you were aware he was coming to get materials, correct?
He said he was coming to get training records.
Right. You didn't believe that?
Well, not after he walked in my office. There was no reason for it. I believe he came in under a false pretense.
So when he came into your office, you found that disturbing for some reason. And he let you know that there had been no unprofessional conduct found.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he was going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't raise his voice, right?
It was just the way that he said it.
But he didn't raise his voice.
No.
He didn't use any foul language.
Nope.
He didn't argue with you in any way.
Mm.
He didn't say anything hostile.
I felt that was hostile,
You felt it was hostile that he was going to come back?
the way he said it.
Okay. Is that because you were hoping he wasn't going to come back?
It's just a matter of how he said it.
Well, you were hoping he wasn't going to come back, right?
That's what you want to say, sure.
No, it's not what I want to say. It's a question.
If he comes back, I'm out.
So you were hoping he wasn't coming back?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a hope, more of a, it should be this, that. If you're not gonna be responsible for your job or your people,
And if it was your decision, clearly you'd be firing him.
mhm.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Council, any redirect?
Thank you. I'd like to approach the witness because I want to ask about the passage from her prior statement that council asked about.
Okay.
So, Beth, this is comes out of your interview with Phil Burgess.
Mhm.
Burgess. And Attorney Frass asked you about a piece of it. And I'm going to ask you to read the section that I circled off here. It is
Okay.
at 0036, and then it goes to the
What page are you on?
page 1, then it goes to the top of page 2 to the answer you gave about whether Chief Swanson didn't come when he was called.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So take your time, read through that, and then I'll ask you a question about it.
Okay.
Okay, so what I want to know is, does reading that passage refresh your recollection when you answered the question that, not off the top of your head, did Chief Swanson ever fail to respond to a call? Were you talking about the times when he had told dispatch to put him on at 6 a.m.?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Okay. Are there other times when, outside the situation of him having called dispatch to say, put me on, where he hasn't responded to being called during a situation where dispatch reached out to the chief?
Yeah.
I just want to ask, we had a testimony questioning about Employees Exhibit 10. And wanted to know whether that was going to be moved, admission.
Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. Yes, I would like to move that into admission.
Okay, any objection?
No. Okay.
So employees exhibit 10 is admitted.
Okay. And if I can just approach and ask her a question about that exhibit?
Yes.
For the record, I've marked this one with some yellow highlighter, so.
Okay.
Just FYI. So this is the email exchange about the alert system and that you let Chief Swanson know he thought it was used properly.
Yep.
And you mentioned Eric Duffy emailed you and Chief Swanson after this exchange. And can you read what Mr. Duffy wrote to you and Chief?
He wrote, "This was my decision," and asked the chief to do it. He pushed back, and I did not listen to him. I apologize to you, and I am sorry.
That was for Mr. Duffy.
Correct.
And is that what you were talking about when you said he owned it or something like that? I forget.
Yes,
Exactly.
he took responsibility for his actions.
I think I need to move admission of, I probably already did move admission of Ms. Therrien's email, which was M12, but if not, I move it now.
No objection.
Okay, it is admitted. We have not
Okay.
admitted it yet. So
Thank
it's
you.
now admitted.
Yeah, all right. So that's it. I have no further questions.
Okay.
You were talking about how Mr. Duffy took responsibility of his mistake. You never took responsibility of your mistake in accusing Chief Swanson of doing something he didn't do, correct?
This was told to me by one of the dispatchers after I got the email that it was Joe that asked. At no time, I'm sorry. It was Joe that asked her to do it, and Mr. Duffy said he asked Joe to do it, and Joe pushed back. I don't have to send an email to say, "I'm sorry, I told you not to do it again."
So this is an occasion where you were taking what somebody told you and accepting it as true?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any questions from this board? Okay. You are excused from the witness stand. Thank you so much, Beth.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So it's time for us to take a break, and I just wanted to say thanks to everybody for maintaining decorum. I'm very grateful for that, and I just wanted to say to Attorney Frass's husband, I'm really sorry. I was just a little confused with people getting up earlier.
No problem.
So I just wanted to make sure, appreciate that you did not get up and yell, and I got a little confused. So with that, let's take a 15-minute break.